Hey everybody, I just want to go over the units that we didn't quite get to this semester for a couple of reasons. One, that full week where we are off and not knowing what we're going to do. And then two, the fact that we're ending on May 15th instead of June 3rd. So let me just show you where we ended first. This is a document provided by the district that gives us by unit what units we should get through. So the last unit we did, or that you took the test on Thursday, was on solving polynomial equations. So we factored, we used division. All of this was done on that test. And then next we would move on to unit 7, but we are out of time. So I'm going to keep posting things on every day of the week. Probably I'll try to stick with Khan Academy. Of material that we haven't covered. So any of you that are especially going to pre-cal next semester, I would definitely try to do the Khan Academy or whatever I post new material wise. It'll help you be prepared for pre-cal next year. And also, I feel as honors students, you guys should really want to get all you can out of the curriculum, and the fact that this coronavirus is ending our semester early, hopefully you still want to proceed and learn everything you can in Algebra 2. If you don't have time right now, or you only have time on certain days because you're working, that's okay. When I post these things in Google Classroom or in Khan Academy, they will be there until I delete the Google Classroom or until I delete your class from Khan Academy. So it'll realistically be there all summer. So until next semester starts, when I get new students and new classes, your Google Classroom will still be up and active. Your Khan Academy account with me in Algebra 2 will still be up and active. So don't feel you have to keep up day to day when I post things. It's just really, again, meant for you to be prepared, especially those of you going to pre-cal. And I'm just going to briefly go over these last 3 units because we have seen these things. So Unit 7, let me rewind for a second. In the very beginning of the semester, after we reviewed linear stuff, we talked about parent functions. And we went through each parent function. We went through constant, linear, quadratic, cubic. We went through what they looked like. So let me just sketch a couple real quick. So like, that's an x and y axis. My linear parent was y equals x, looked like this. And then for quadratic, we had to sketch the parent and know the function. So a quadratic, we knew the parent was y equals x squared. It looked like this. It was U-shaped. And we spent a whole unit, a long time on quadratics. And then a cubic parent was y equals x cubed. That looked like this. It was the squiggle graphs. And the last unit we did in here on polynomials, this was kind of leading us to polynomials. Higher degree or higher order functions. Now, some that we didn't get to, but we did look at their parents. So Unit 7 was called rational functions. And that parent function was y equals 1 over x. We learned this in the very beginning of the year. And that parent function looked like this. It was probably, I think I told you guys, my favorite graph. It split up. And when we talked about domain and range, the reason it got split up was because x can't be 0. And if x can't be 0, because you can't divide by 0, that means the y will never be 0. Hence why this graph was split by the x and y axis. So that's pretty cool. So that would be the next parent function we'd look into, rational functions. And again, I'll be posting Khan Academy stuff or maybe some of my own stuff from the past on rational functions. And then Unit 8, radical functions. Let me go back to my pictures. One of the other parent functions was the square root and cube root. They are radical functions. So y equal to the square root of x. This was one of our parent functions from way back when. It looked like this. And let's talk about domain and range. We mentioned the domain was x had to be greater than or equal to 0. That's because I can't square root negatives. We get those imaginaries. And if the x can't be less than or equal to 0, the y will never be less than or equal to 0. And then a cube root function. This was one of our parent functions in the very beginning, the cube root of x. That was like the cubic, but on its side. Oops, that's not very good. Hold on. It kind of looked like the cube function, but it was on its side. So we've seen radical functions. It's just in this unit 8, we'd go into in more detail about radical functions. So really, we've already touched on these last 2 units, just didn't dive deeply into them. And the last unit, exponential functions. That was one of our parent functions. Let me go back to my graph. Exponential functions. In your notes, I think we used the letter B for the base. This could be any base. Was b to the x. Always had this shape. It increased from left to right and got really, really close to this x-axis. So we've already kind of been exposed to the parent exponential function. The parent log function is just the inverse. I don't think we touched on that parent function, but the log is an inverse of an exponential. So just to give you a little bit of what I'm going to be posting the next few weeks in Google Classroom, and this is really important if you're going to pre-cal, a little important if you're taking Algebra 3 next year. If you're going to Prob and Stat, not too pressing of an issue to go through these units. If you're going to college, I would go through these units. ACT, SAT math has a lot of questions from Algebra 2 and pre-cal. So it doesn't hurt you to go through some of them, or watch the videos, don't do the problems, or try the problems, watch the videos if you need to. Again, none of these will be graded because my graded assignments are done as of today. If you have any questions while you work on these units until June 3rd, just shoot me a remind message. Even over the summer, if you want to shoot me a remind message, I'm around. I'm here to help you. This isn't your fault that we went on this break. It's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault. We can't help that this virus came into our lives. So again, if you need me, let me know. Otherwise, as of today, Friday, May 15th, your final grade is going to be a Google form that's attached to this video post in Classroom. And it's really just like an exit survey of what you thought of the class while we were in class, and what you thought of the online class, and what are your future plans for math. So after today, May 15th, we are done with Algebra 2 grades. However, again, I will still be posting material. You no need to text me that you finished it, or tell me that it's done, or send me emails, unless it's late work. And last thing before I forget, if you have zeros, they are due, I'm going to say June 1st for me. That way I have plenty of time to get your grades in, because I have a lot of Algebra 2 students with zeros. It gives me plenty of time to get your grade updated before they're due. So June 1st, if you can, get any zeros into me and just let me know as you turn them in. And I'll update Power School grades probably weekly. All right, guys, I had fun when you guys were with me in class. I look forward to seeing you next year at school. Go Sharks!